Welcome back to a little bit of cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius. That is Sam Douglas. It is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. Coming off of Super Bowl 60 on Sunday, Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. So the good old-fashioned ass-whooping of Drake May and the New England Patriots. What are your overall takes from this game here, Sam?
What a story. I mean, it's got to be Sam Darnold, right? He was a third overall draft pick, pushed away by multiple teams last year by Minnesota, which makes it a little bit sweeter as a Packer fan watching Minnesota. A team kind of built like Seattle, really good defense and really good wide receiver. For number one seed, really, really good team. Sam Darnold and Minnesota gave it up. No, it was awesome Super Bowl. Seattle deserved it. Fantastic defense. The defense is so freaking good. I believed in Drake May. He'll be back. I think he'll be back.
Yeah. I mean, you say that, and then you have a career like Joe Burrow, and you get to year 8, and it's like, ooh, this kind of stinks. But things are always a little bit different in New England there. And that's what frustrated me the most was the fact that they were in the Super Bowl just, 5 years off of Brady? Like, that's not fair. Sitting back as Packer fans, we haven't seen anything relevant in what feels like 16 years now, at least in terms of Super Bowls. But, that Sam Darnold story that's something crazy. That's like, even what you hear him talk about in the press conference, the way that he said his parents used to talk to him, the way that they always believed in him, and how he kind of always got some flack, regardless of what happened prior in his career, how much he believed in himself, but just continued to work and found himself in different situations in San Francisco and Carolina, where you could look and you could be a guy where you have fallen off the face of the earth. You were on top of the world, drafted third overall, had everything at your fingertips, and had nothing go right. And you find yourself in a place like Carolina, and then you're asked to go back up in San Francisco, and you got to sit behind a seventh-round draft pick in Brock Purdy. Like, it's how you respond to those situations. So this is going to be a good story, I think, we're going to be able to tell our kids, like, hey, guys, Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion. This is a guy that people had written off for multiple years in a row. And he came back, got an opportunity with Minnesota. Nobody had any expectations. Lit it up, but then the lights got bright. What happened the next year when he got his next opportunity? He improved, and he always found a way to do it, and I think this will kind of lead us into the next conversation, but you texted me right after the game that this Super Bowl had put Jordan Love on the hot seat. And I'll refrain from my opinion on that because I'm going to need you to elaborate before I can rip on you here.
Love Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is the future of the Packers, but I said this like a year and a half ago. I think when Baker first started getting kind of hot, I said and Sam Darnold was going on in Minnesota too, that you can win with a $30 million quarterback. It feels like teams for a little bit, almost when Dak got that $60 million contract, what was it, in like 2020 or something like that, that teams just decided, oh, our quarterback is going to get $50-60 million, and then the rest of the team, we fill it in from there. Either you're searching for your quarterback, you're starting a Geno Smith, who's a $15 million option. You're starting a rookie, and you're building the team around that, or you're contending. And it feels like we opened up a door for teams to contend with that $30 million quarterback, with the Sam Darnold, with the Baker Mayfield. And I think the Packers got a little excited with the Jordan Love money. He might have been a little bit overpaid, just like Tua might have been a little bit overpaid because that's just what the market was doing at the time.
Right.
And so if you were watching this Packers team and we watch Malik Willis play some great football for us, be a game manager. What if Max Crosby was on the defensive line and Malik Willis and there's one Christian Gonzalez in the NFL. What if we could spend that Jordan Love money, get Christian Gonzalez? And I just think there's a handful of different ways to go forward and win. I love Jordan Love. He's been a stud. He was super locked in. But there's small windows in the NFL, right? You have one Micah Parsons on your team. If you're gonna go get it, there's a couple different ways to win. That's all I'm getting at, Cody. That's all I'm getting at.
Okay. Yeah. And that's fine. And I'll kind of say that, especially to end up with a guy like Sam Darnold at $30 million for 2 years, and you got a team option for the second year, which, like you said before, Minnesota just has to feel stupid for closing a window there.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam Darnold is worth more than $30 million. That next contract he's going to get is going to be there. So Seattle is kind of in a perfect situation to bring in a guy like that. You don't have to be too risky, but it's because he was proven but unproven because of that story that I just said before. Like we were so hesitant, and I myself included in this. I didn't think Seattle had any shot to go deep, like early in the season. Like it was a question of, I think, even if they're going to make the playoffs or not. I didn't have them coming out of the NFC West. Goodness, no. I didn't have them winning that division. I didn't have them walking through the playoffs as a 1 seed. But Sam Darnold had to go and prove it. And the fact that this was the time that he went and proved it, that was your $30 million guy. Now that he has proved it, that contract's going to go up. When that's up, he's going to make money. And so you have, and then on the other side, you have Drake May, who's on a rookie contract. Mm-hmm. So these are two opportune spots for both of these teams where very often towards the end of the year, what are the teams that are playing for the Super Bowl? It's somebody who has the quarterback. And a lot of times it's the teams that paid the quarterback. Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady got his money too. Peyton Manning always got his money. Like it's the guys that are there. It's the biggest step that you can take as a franchise is to lock up your quarterback. And I'm not going to fault the franchise for doing that. And we're going to see how Malik Willis does next year. I bet he's the quarterback of Green Bay South in Miami. He's going to get his opportunity. We're going to see how he is over the course of 17 games and into a regular season. And then maybe I can eat my words and say that he's better than Jordan Love. But at this point, right now, I think we're forgetting how much Jordan Love helped this team this past year. Because without him, it was a little bit different. Yes, I understand Malik Willis looked great in the 2 games that he did play. But Green Bay was very confident when they threw out Jordan Love, and he threw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in the playoff game. And honestly, had that drive essentially won if Christian Watson ran his route correctly and threw his hands up at the time he should have. So it's hard for me to fault Love when I think the biggest problem with it was the management, and we talked about this before, the management of your interior defensive line and the cornerbacks that we knew were not going to work. And a lot of that goes back to missed draft opportunities. I was listening to ESPN Lacrosse, and John Papadopoulos laid out your Gutekunst history of drafting cornerbacks. And essentially, they're 2 for 8. And their 2 hits have been Jair Alexander, and that was Goody's first ever draft pick, and Carrington Valentine, just for the fact that he was a 7th rounder. So you go like that, and you wince. But he's a guy you can have as your 3rd cornerback and feel okay, and that is a awesome value to get out of a 7th rounder. So we're just saying draft analysis, like good pick, bad pick. He has 2 good picks. Everybody else has been a bust or hasn't done anything on this team. You're talking about your Josh Jacksons, Kevin Kings. I could go on here, but just guys that didn't do anything on this roster. So, and I'm not going to say that Gutekunst is at entire fault for this either, but it's a combination of things where this team fell short and where you saw Seattle really put everything together. It was your 4 defensive linemen, your front 7, and being creative with your athletic defensive backs. And I think Green Bay has an opportunity next year, but there are holes that they have to plug to go and be that Super Bowl contender. But I think you're right there, even with paying your quarterback of the offense and your Micah Parsons there on the defense. You're giving those boys a lot of money, and the way that they draft and develop and have so many guys still on rookie contracts, there's still that opportunity to go out and compete year in, year out.
And it was just an injury year. I mean, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that if Micah Parsons is healthy, if Tucker Kraft is healthy, we're playing with these guys. The other takeaway that I had from this game, and I think this is kind of an interesting take, it just solidified for me what the 2020 Packers would have been with David Bakhtiari, because the Seahawks dominated Will Campbell. They attacked him. Witherspoon, I think he had 21 pressures all season long, including the playoffs. They rushed him 7 times. 6 of those 7 times were at Will Campbell. Will Campbell could do nothing for anybody. If you don't have a left tackle in these big games, they'll just hunt you. And Denver was doing a great job against Drake May as well. I mean, he didn't have a great game in Denver. A lot
Yeah.
of it was Will Campbell and my just that Bakhtiari injury. Every time I was seeing Will Campbell get taken out, I was hoping Bakhtiari was still playing for Aaron Rodgers in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, there's those teams you had in 14 and 20 and 21, like those were right. And I hear from Packers fan, well, people who aren't Packers fans, they're like, it's kind of crazy you didn't at least get one more because those teams were right there, and it's the beauty of sports, man. It doesn't matter sometimes what should happen or what could happen. It's just whatever can happen will happen. Murphy's Law there. Getting into a little bit more philosophy. We should start a philosophy pod there, Sam. You got some philosophy credits, right?
At
But
least 3 of them.
at least 3 of them. Hey, I think that's 3 more than I have. So, oh, I got some back in high school. I piece of paper. It's irrelevant. So we'll transfer over to the Packers here. Defensive coordinators Jonathan Gannon, former Philadelphia defensive coordinator and former Arizona head coach as of most recent. Not a lot of success out in Arizona. In Philadelphia, he had all the talent in the world, and they were a top 5 defense. How do you feel about this signing overall?
Solid. I mean, you're getting a former head coach, he's had success in the league. He's young enough, he's stayed in touch. So yeah, super stoked about it. I don't think we need a genius to coach a defense with Micah Parsons on it. But we do need some personnel. I think that's been the biggest thing. And I think Halfley knew that as well. And that's why Halfley wasn't super afraid. Now, if you get NFL head coaching jobs, you got to go take those. But I think he knew that the Packers would be fine. You get someone decent back there. The Packers will be able to run a good defense. We just got to you got to upgrade some player personnel. Like there's nothing a DC can do if you're still rolling out Keyshawn Nixon as your cornerback 1. So,
Yep.
big fan of Gannon. I think it's sweet to have another former head coach in the building.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, he's a guy that was really praised by Nick Sirianni last year. Like the
That
way
means
that he
so
talks
much.
about him. What'd you say?
Nick Sirianni's yeah. Sorry, Nick Sirianni's opinion doesn't mean much to me,
I
but
mean,
he's a football guy.
a guy that worked hand in hand. And Gannon was able to garner enough attention to be hired as a head coach out in
Yeah.
Arizona. So that says something. Now, I will say that there was enough last year we had where Jonathan Gannon gives you a little bit of a weird vibe. Like the shoving the player, the what is it, light a fire in your belly? Was that the quote that they had in the pre? Like there's some goofy stuff. Some stuff that tells me probably not a head coach, but could be your quirky and fun offensive or defensive coordinator. Like
Yeah.
who Mike McDaniel, right? Out of
Yeah.
Miami. Like fun, goofy, weird. Not really your head coach material, I don't think. And I think Matt LaFleur kind of teeters on that line. And we've talked about that
Yeah.
before too, where it's just like there's that awkwardness where it works great for coordinators, but as your head coach, you might have a team that ends up maybe having a softer mentality, and that's kind of what Green Bay has been dealing with. So that's the whole Matt LaFleur conversation, but just kind of saying for Gannon, I think it could work. I think it could be bad because things can turn bad as well. So right now I'm content. I wasn't expecting much more. I wasn't expecting for Brian Flores to just hop state lines and come over. I would have been excited nonetheless because I think he'd be a game changer. But I think this defense can at least give you shades of the success that you saw under Jeff Halfley with people healthy. I understand how bad it looked at the end of the year. I don't put that much on Halfley. I think that was more so just, as you said, lack of personnel, especially with all the injuries that garnered this team. So I'm hopeful on it. Not going to say too much until I see it happen, but I think that this could be a guy that you hang on to for a few years because of the lack of success he had out in Arizona. And I don't even fault him that much for that because Arizona is just a dumpster fire of an organization and nobody's
Terrible.
going to succeed there. Rest in peace, Mike LaFleur.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Packers, fun. We're going to do some draft analysis in the next couple of weeks too. We're going to talk about the different needs, free agents, and things like that. But biggest news to this point, defensive coordinator. Other Packers coaching staff, I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds on that because, in all honesty, I don't think it matters all too much. But there are some things changing out there. If you guys ever want to, I'll always shout out Pack-A-Day Podcast with Andy Herman. Those guys are great. As deep as you want to go every single day, they will give you any news Packers worthy that you can go listen to every day. That's what I listen to every day, so you guys can do that too. But I do want to ask Sam, the Bucks acquiring Cam Thomas. I'm sure there are enough listeners here who don't know who Cam Thomas is. I did not before we started recording here, so I'd like for you to enlighten us on the state of the union of the Bucks and who's Cam Thomas.
I don't think we've potted since Giannis officially stayed through free agency. So, just going to put a little tip of the cap to all the ball knowers that knew Giannis wasn't going anywhere. Chris Haynes comes out and says, yeah, Giannis never actually requested a trade. So, your boy Sam was right. All the Bucks information, I got you here. Cam Thomas was waived by the Brooklyn Nets because the Nets are terrible. And he's played there for a couple years. He's showed promise as a player, but it's clear wasn't getting it done in Brooklyn. I'm sure they were shopping him around the trade deadline, and nobody was biting, so they just completely waived him. And the Bucks picked him up. I don't know the contract off the top of my head. It's got to be something really approachable because apron situations. It's probably like a minimum. I don't know. But Cam Thomas, Cody. He was, I've got his basketball reference, first round pick to the Brooklyn Nets in 2021. Over his first 5 seasons in the NBA, he's averaged 8.5, 10.5, 22.5, 24, then 15. It's a 24 a game point scorer in the NBA last year. He got better every single year. First round draft pick, touted guy. Needs a new opportunity. Not a very good passer. Not a very good rebounder. Never had success in a locker room with any team. But he scored 22, 24 for a couple years as a third, fourth year player in the NBA. This is exactly what we needed. We needed a wing. We need a lot. But
Head coach.
Head coach first and foremost. Yes, thank you. No, Doc needs to go. This team is so poorly coached. But we got a guard who can score. So he's an awesome asset. I'm stoked to see what he can be. We do need wing help. We got Ousmane Dieng, 6'9" forward with a 7-foot wingspan. Never really been that fantastic in the NBA, but Giannis is coming back healthy. Cam Thomas is not Chris Middleton, because Chris Middleton was 6'7", but in the sense that you can give the ball to a guy to go get a bucket, that's what we have. This is diet Damian Lillard. It's the vision of what we wanted with Damian. It's like, okay, Giannis is getting quadruple teamed. Can we have someone who can go get his own bucket? Cam Thomas has been doing that. He's still young enough, and this could be an incredible move for the Bucks going forward. If he has a kind of a low-key year, we sign him to like a really nice 3-year deal, let him grow with Giannis. We got and still a good first round draft pick this year. No reason to think that the Bucks are in peril, but this year the tank feels kind of weird. That's my name here. It's just tank question mark. I don't know if we're giving up on the season because we do have our first round draft pick, and it'd be sweet to get like a top 10 draft pick in a really loaded draft class. But picking up Cam Thomas, we're going to start winning some games because of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a point where I feel like a tank is what's best in the long run, just for the fact that this team is not winning the finals this year. Like we know that. I mean, it is so hard to even make that midseason switch at coach and for things to transition even into the playoffs to give yourself a chance. That's a good question. Has there ever been a midseason coaching change where an NBA team has won the finals after? Would that be like an AI question there? But
For
I,
sure. I know Luke Walton won it. I think his first year with the Lakers. I think his bubble year was Luke Walton's first year, or that's the
that's
year
your
he won it. Then he got
Disney Mickey
fired.
Mouse. That doesn't count. That's a joke. I do think it counts. It just counts in a different way.
Hey, that Clippers Nuggets series in the bubble was electric.
That was a fun playoff. It was. And how did the Bucks go out that year? I'm sure Giannis got hurt again.
No, Heat. That was Jimmy. That was Jimmy just cooking us.
Yeah,
We were the one seed, and we were dominating the league until we had a stupid record, Cody.
I know.
It was like 50-9 or something sweet like that. And then the NBA shut down, and then Jimmy came back all just making coffee in the bubble and smoked us.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. It's, it's pretty typical. It checks out. How did they acquire Thomas? Is that through trade?
Signed him. Free agent.
Free
The
agent?
Nets waived him. They got rid of him. They said, go be free, young soul.
Cool.
Maybe he was frustrated. Maybe they didn't want to be in a position to, sign and trade him, but they just they wanted some of their young players to get shots. They knew he wasn't part of their future. Um, so yeah,
Hey,
free.
active front office. I know you always say you'll tip your hat to an active front office, even if
Yeah.
you give $500,000 to Trayvon Diggs for one playoff snap. Active office.
The active, you'd love to see it. Just do something for us.
Yeah, well, the Milwaukee Brewers have been an active office this
Oh,
week,
they've been an active offense.
trading away Caleb Durbin, Anthony Sigler, and Andrew Monasterio with a compensatory second round pick for Kyle Harrison, David Hamilton, and I think Shane DuPont is the other pitcher. That was off the top of my head. But overall thoughts on this trade? I know my wife texted me immediately after, and she was devastated. She said the power of friendship has fallen apart.
Oh no. Um, I'm really, really, really excited if this means Jesus Mate is going to get some playing time. It still might be a little early, but I love that that door is hopefully opening. My other take was as soon as we got Sproat, I looked at the starting pitchers. Do we have five righties that are all starters?
Yeah.
I think that's where we were before this Hamilton trade. And looking up Hamilton, there's a lot of reasons to be really stoked about this guy.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
I think you might be wrong on Hamilton.
You think I
Hamilton.
might be? He's the lefty, right?
No, he's the position player
Son of a
that
gun.
hit a
I
buck
do have the wrong
98
guy.
last year.
No, all right.
I mean
Yeah, no.
Harrison, right?
Harrison. Yeah. That's come on. They look pretty similar.
For and for those of you that don't know, Mr. Hamilton is a African American man, and Mr. Harrison
Oh
is
God.
is not.
Hamilton and Harrison, though, like if you're reading,
Yes,
if
they're
you're
similar
reading it
last
in your local
names. I
paper.
can give that to you. I
Oh,
can't
God.
really give the. Yeah, they look alike. But
Brewers got a lefty pitcher. There's a lot of reasons to be excited about.
two lefty pitchers, and this
Oh,
is where it's a little bit interesting too. Oh, Sam's lost it. We've lost Sam here, but were you okay with trading Caleb Durbin? That's my first question.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he wasn't. A lot of cool moments with the Brewers, as a lot of Brewers did, but nothing about him was irreplaceable.
yeah.
But
I
trading the
agree.
Isaac Collins and Caleb Durbin, I mean, weren't both of these guys in the top five rookie of the year voting
Yep.
this past year, and the Brewers just trade him off, and it's just so backwards that it's like this is the penny pinching franchise that wants these good young cheap players, and then they get them, and then they trade them, and it's just it's a goofy watch, but that's how you have to do it if you want to keep staying ahead of the game like this. You have get players to play at the highest level that they can, and then ship
Yep.
them off, sell them high, and get pitching. That's all they've been doing.
Yeah, I mean that's the blueprint, and where I'm okay with this is the exact same reason I was okay with Isaac Collins. I think you might have seen the best year out of Caleb Durbin. I don't think Caleb Durbin is an everyday starter for a winning team. I don't think a competitive team. He should not be your starting third baseman every day. I think he would be value in a super utility role where he plays maybe 4 days out of the week and he hits against left-handers every time. And but in terms of an everyday player, his arm was not strong at third. You were never going to get power out of him, and his contact was okay. And in all essence, turned out to be a solid rookie year and exceeded expectations, I think, in Milwaukee. But like I said, I think that might have been the ceiling. And even the ceiling for Caleb Durbin was a league average hitter and a slightly above average defense. And if you get below that average, you're going to be asking for a lot more at third base. And Milwaukee saw that, said, hey, we can get a couple more arms. And they find the value there, and they turn those guys into Cy Young contenders, so I guess I can't sit here and argue too much. My biggest frustration with the trade was I don't think they needed to throw in the compensatory pick, because that's a pretty high pick where Milwaukee's been doing well in that range in the first rounds the last couple of years. Milwaukee has found a lot of value, and they traded another one away, but we could be looking at this midseason, and Harrison looks incredible. DuPont is right there, and heck, maybe Hamilton is just lighting it up, and it doesn't make any sense, and we just all look silly here. I would think that it's going to be more of a, yeah, that trade ended up okay, and Milwaukee got some okay value out of it, and Caleb Durbin is a below-average player out there in Boston, and that wouldn't surprise me at all.
And we also very much sold high on Andrew Monasterio. He was, I'm the hand up, the butt of a few of my jokes throughout the years. When Monasterio's in the game, that's the white flag. That's a game we don't want to win. That's a Sunday lineup. And he had a few cool moments. He got hot for a little bit, and I think selling high on Monasterio is an awesome move. Love his role in what the Brewers were last year. That 2025 Brewers team is for sure going to be going down in history, and Monasterio had his role in it. But get him off of my team.
Yeah, the defense was bad, and the offense looked good last year, but any other part in his career did not. The other head-scratching part of this is the fact that they traded away every single major league caliber third baseman. So at this point right now, on the big league team, and I'll actually backtrack to when you said you think Jesus Mate is getting time. I don't think Jesus Mate is playing this year. I think your third baseman is going to be external, or probably the more likely option, one of Jet Williams or Joey Ortiz and somebody else that we don't know the name of quite yet. And that's Mate is 19. He's getting his first licks in Double-A. He is right where Jackson Chourio was on like the exact same trajectory. And the way that Milwaukee handled that at age 19 is we're going to give him another year in Double-A, and you'll probably see him for opening day next year. So if all things continue to go well for Mate, which there's an opportunity for them not to, they could take a step back, where with Chourio, you saw it for a couple of months, and then he got hot, like you see with him every single year that he plays baseball. But that's the trajectory that he's on. Cooper Pratt might be a guy later in the year that you see called up. I know Brock Wilken, he's dealt with a lot of injuries, but they like him. They really, really, really like Andrew Fisher, who was just drafted last year, but he's got a little ways to go here. He's probably got about a year and a half or 2 years in the minors before we really start considering him for the big league roster. But that's another reason why they did this, was because of that minor league depth, and they knew Caleb Durbin was not going to be the guy long-term at third base. So what do? Let's fill the position with guys that we think can play Major League Baseball, maybe, like Vinny Capra or Ollie Dunn or whoever it might be, Anthony Sigler. So I would expect the same thing. I think there's a chance that Williams plays second and they move Terang to short, because I know that they wanted to work with that last year until Terang's arm got hurt. So maybe they've been telling Bryce to, hey, strengthen up. We're going to need you to throw an extra few feet every throw this year. Maybe he's a little bit more physically prepared for it, where in spring training they threw him over and he had a little bit of fatigue, and they're going to try to avoid that. But that I've heard rumblings that Terang might be a better shortstop than Ortiz, and we know Ortiz can play pretty good third base as well. You would hope to have a bigger bat out there at third base, but it's what you're dealing with in Milwaukee. It's what you've been dealing with, and it's what you're going to continue to deal with. And Jet Williams is a guy who I think is going to be exciting and fun, but he could also be frustrating. So they can't hit on every single one of these guys, but it's kind of hard to expect for them not to until they miss, and they haven't missed in a while.
Tell you what, defensively, Ortiz at third and Turang at short. There's not a lot of balls getting through there, Cody.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty darn okay with that. Um, you got to think Murph was fighting to keep Durbin a little bit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he knows the way that this has to go in Milwaukee, and he's pretty knowledgeable about getting more young guys the chance. But do you think that this opens up extension money for Turang? Is this a money move because they wanted to keep Durbin, but they weren't going to be able to give contracts to everybody? So maybe they're
Yeah.
ready to give Miz a blank check. They're ready to give Turang some money here. We talked about it a couple times. Someone's got to get paid here.
Yeah, Sal Frelick's going to be on that block too. Like you got a couple guys that are coming up. I'm going to let everybody know right now. I think that this is going to be the second to last year you have Contreras on this team. I
I
know
think so.
everybody wants a contract extension, but the way that the Brewers play it is you get the most out of a catcher until they hit 29 or 30 and you let them go. And what happens with guys like Yasmani Grandal or Omar Narvaez, people that Brewers fans said, hey, why are you letting him walk? We all saw why. And when a catcher hits 30, it's kind of like when a running back hits 30 in the NFL. It's hard to keep your legs under you, having that wear and tear for a full season. And Contreras has caught a lot of games. I would not be surprised if you watch him start to decline after this year. You could have a really, really, really solid hitter again if he can bounce back after the surgical repair on his hand. But there is going to be that wall, I think, that you might hit with
So
William Contreras. And I don't think Milwaukee's going to invest knowing that that's a good probability on the horizon.
I agree, not Contreras. So then who is getting the money? Sal?
Should be Terang. It really
Yeah.
like Bryce Terang was top 20 in the MVP last year, and I
Mhm.
think that we're scratching the surface. What we saw power wise in the last 2 months of the regular season is a superstar, somebody who can glove like that, hit for a high average, get on base. He stole what 50 bases 2 years ago. You could be watching a 30 home run, 50 stolen base kind of player who
Mhm.
won a platinum glove.
And
This
Murph will
could be
send him
one.
too. Murph will send him too. All he
Right.
wants. You want to run? Go, go, go,
Yeah.
run, boy.
No, this might be one of the better players in all of baseball. I think he's that next guy. You're building a core here, and I don't think Frelick is going to be that expensive. I think you've seen pretty much what his ceiling is at, but his floor is also pretty high.
But
There's not a bad baseball player
they're
there.
building a core, but they're getting rid of the core. It's so who's the real core here? Is this going to be Sal and um
Sal,
Bryce
Bryce,
sticking around?
Churio,
Churio,
yeah, and
Miz,
Mizorowski will be in there.
hopefully.
And then you can pick five of the pitchers that they have, and I could tell you maybe, but they got another seven lined up right behind them. So I think the core of starting pitchers is just going to be a revolving door, and it's just going to find a way to work every year. Mizorowski needs to be a part of that equation from what we saw. But yeah, Sal should get a contract. Bryce should get a contract.
What's the
Churio's already
timeline on
locked
that?
up.
What's the timeline on those contracts? When do those typically start happening?
I
If
mean,
somebody's
Bryce
getting
really would have been nice to happen at the beginning of last year, but they didn't. Sal would
um,
be right about now or even into the off season. I mean, with baseball, it could happen at any time. Like Jose Ramirez just signed a big extension with Cleveland. You have guys sign them in the middle of the season too. You usually want to get it out of the way before spring training, which pitchers and
yeah.
catchers report this week. So there might be some good news that we have coming into next week, but I'm not quite sure. All of it's going to be up in the air. I hope that they can get Terang and Frelick locked up. Andrew Vaughn, I got to see a little bit more out of yet before you throw good money at him. Jesus Mate, I think you're going to wait. You'll give him a year in the minors, and then you try to get a Churio-like deal, like, hey, 8 years, 80 million, good for both of us. Let's do it right now. Andrew Fisher, I got to see a year out of the minors and him before you start talking, but it's going to keep being a revolving door, and that's the beauty of a Milwaukee Brewers franchise that doesn't have money. The names change, but you hope the success stays the same. But Terang is someone you really, really have to go after, I
So
think.
so he's your untouchable as the Brewers go through this period, and as they
Yeah,
always, they'll just sell everyone off, as we've seen, everybody from Devin Williams to Caleb Durbin.
yeah,
Turang is your one untouchable. Obviously Churio's not going anywhere, but Turang's your other untouchable.
yeah, yeah. Terang. And pitchers, it's a little different because you can throw one pitch and not see a diamond for 15 months, like Corbin Burns last year anyway. So and that's where he talked about Mizorowski. Like instead of giving him a blank check, it's difficult because his arm could explode tomorrow. Where a position player, they're not as volatile as a pitcher is. So I'm really, I don't know. Bryce Terang's something special. He's a player that doesn't come through like this, and Milwaukee has an opportunity. He's going to be expensive. I don't think they're going to want to pay him what he's worth, but I really think that they should try their best. But they've done well with the Churio contract. They've done well with Peralta. I mean, they had him cheap for so long too, and you got value back now with Williams and Sproat. So that's still that's still benefits of that
Yes.
Freddie Peralta 5-year contract.
Something tells me there might be a world where Turang is that $200 million guy for the Dodgers, and if he's going to be that guy, then
Yeah, I think he's. Where's he from? Is he a West Coast kid too?
it
Because
kind of feels like it.
that could play. I think he is. Let me
Like
check
if
on
the
that. I know
Brewers,
his
if the
dad
Brewers
played in
start,
Seattle.
if the Brewers start feeling like LA is just going to give him any money.
Yeah, he's a Corona, California boy, so that's
Well, on a better note, it's Bobby Portis's 31st birthday.
Hey, happy birthday. He's only 31.
Yeah, Big Bob, been holding it down. He had a quote last night after the game. He said, "We got to do better team rebounding. Everybody's got to have 3, 4, 5 rebounds on this team. Can't just rely on the big men to get the rebound." After a game when Bobby had 0 rebounds.
Yeah, yeah. That's Bobby Ball, baby. Hey, I got one cheese grater for you. What's Green Bay's biggest need?
Health and a cornerback,
Yeah,
uh,
I agree.
defensive back. I got a grader for you.
Okay.
Of teams to make more than 2 Super Bowls, what team has the best winning percentage in their Super Bowl appearance? There's 3 teams that have 2 or less, and they're undefeated. So other than those 3 undefeated teams,
I mean, Green Bay hasn't lost a Super Bowl, so. Oh, they did. They lost against Denver. That was stupid. I actually have all those games on VHS tape. That's a side note. My great grandpa used to record them, and I came across those VHS tapes, and I got a VHS player, and it is so fun to me.
sweet.
So I mean, New England lost a couple. Denver lost a lot. Kansas City, no, they lost one against Tampa.
You already said it is the Packers, but it is our only loss. We're 4-1, so 4-1's the best winning percentage of any Super Bowl team.
Hey, that's cool. I'd love to get back. I'd be okay getting back and losing a couple. Even.
That's fair.
That'd be fine. Let's try to get back there and see what can happen. But you got a window. There's a chance. One last grader. Where are the Bucks in 3 years?
Where are the Bucks in 3 years? Oh, we'll still be in Milwaukee, baby. Giannis still gonna be doing his thing, making jokes on Instagram. There's gonna be trade rumors about him, and him and Thanasis are gonna have a media day, and they're just gonna open up a pack of cards. It's gonna be fine. Bucks are gonna be chilling.
When are they getting a steak restaurant? Have they gotten there yet?
I don't know. It'd be cool with like an authentic Euro spot. Milwaukee gets down with the Euros.
Okay.
No, Bucks will be good. We're fine. We're in good hands. Top 5 seed.
Positive note for you to end on. We'll be back next week. Hopefully some good news for us on a little bit of cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.